Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already guessed by the title, today I'm going to be discussing my favourite vanilla fragrances. Now originally I was going to be doing a top 10, however when I looked through my collection I couldn't quite get it to 10 fragrances. So I've added a few more in here. I'm always looking for that next best thing, and I think it goes within any fragrance category. I'm still on the hunt for my perfect vanilla. Some of these are close, and I think actually some of these are 10 out of 10s, but I'm always curious what's out there and what is next. So anyway, if you like the sound of that, then please do keep on watching. But before we get into the video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and I will continue making fragrance content like this in the future. I've also added my Instagram handle to the screen. I would love it if you could come and join the community over there. I'm regularly posting stories asking which YouTube video I should film next, and I love having conversations over in the DMs. So now that's out the way, let's get on to my favorite vanilla fragrances. Now the first vanilla dominant fragrance that I want to talk about is an absolute classic, and I feel like everyone should have this in their collection, as long as they like the scent profile, of course. And that is none other than Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. And I do only have this 10ml travel atomizer. I am planning to purchase the full-size bottle when this runs out, but I mostly only wear this in the fall winter season, and I've only got a little bit left, so I am probably going to be purchasing a full-size bottle very soon, and it's absolutely full bottle worthy in my opinion. It is so gorgeous. Of course it has tobacco in there and the vanilla. They are the most prominent notes to my nose, but you also get cacao and dried fruits, and I just think this is absolutely delicious. It gets so many compliments. And like I said, I think it's a staple in any vanilla lover's wardrobe. It's pretty sweet. The tobacco is not too strong. I feel like it's very balanced. So my first fragrance in my top vanillas is Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. So the next vanilla fragrance is what I would class as a more soft and feminine vanilla, and that is Goutal's Nuit et Confidences. And this is such a cute bottle. I should have got the full-size bottle, but this one was on a really good offer, so I just picked it up. But to me, this is more of a soft vanilla, like I already mentioned. I have likened it to Dama Bianca in a previous video, but what a lot of people say it's very similar to is Guerlain's Spiritueuse Double Vanille, which I can see the comparison. I'm not 100% sure that I get it personally, but I do get that kind of vanilla ice creamy kind of vibe from this scent, so that's probably where the comparison comes from. But yeah, it's just such a gorgeous scent, and it is more affordable. Now this is very much a vanilla and tonka bean dominant fragrance, but it definitely has a beautiful incense note and white florals throughout. It is very pretty. Some people say this is quite strong and more of an evening scent. I would personally wear this more as a daytime scent. I think it is soft, gentle and beautiful vanilla. And that's why I liken it to Dama Bianca, because that is another one in my collection that I absolutely adore. However, I wanted to mention this one because it is more affordable and I think it's a very special fragrance. So if you like a more soft and gentle vanilla and maybe more of a sweet vanilla, I would highly recommend checking this one out. So the next fragrance I'm going to discuss is a vanilla fragrance that's absolutely amazing. Lots of people talk about this one, so I'm not going to stick on it for too much time, and that is none other than Kayali's Vanilla 28. And it is just such a beautiful vanilla dominant fragrance, but it also has a beautiful note of brown sugar, which makes this so delicious. But it also has tonka, amber and vanilla orchid, and I think it's an absolute staple in any vanilla lover's collection. I specifically mostly use this for layering, however I would wear it on its own too. It's a very sweet and sugary vanilla. It's not got any spices or anything like that running throughout to my nose anyway. And yeah, I just think it's a classic, so I had to add it into this video. So the next fragrance is a newer one to my collection, but one that I've wanted to add for quite some time, and I'm glad I finally have it, and that is none other than Javoy's Fire at Will. And it comes in this pretty plain bottle, and then it has the name at the end and then Javoy at the other end. But this is actually my scent of the day, and wow, this one took me by surprise when I first sniffed it. I think it is one of the most perfect vanillas for me personally. It's one of them rich, dense, vanilla-y caramel scents. Now, when I first sprayed this on the skin, it almost did a little bit of a disappearing act for about 5-10 minutes, so I went a little bit anosmic to it. But then after that 10-minute period passed, oh my God, this was literally projecting like crazy. The sillage was beautiful and it lasted for the whole day. So I'm not sure what that kind of anosmic thing was in the first 10 minutes. However, this is definitely one of the best vanilla fragrances on the market. And I actually really enjoy that vanilla caramelly scent composition. So if you haven't checked out Fire at Will, I would highly recommend you do so. And if you don't know, Javoy is actually a store. It's a luxury niche perfume store and they have their own scents. So they have stores in Paris and also in London, and I will link it below. But yeah, highly recommend checking this one out if you love the sound of it. So the next fragrance is not a straight up vanilla by any means, but it is a beautiful, what I would call a warm and maybe spicy vanilla, and that is Dior Addict. And this is a very classic fragrance from Dior. Not many people speak about this one anymore, and I think it's one of the best fragrances from Dior in my opinion. Now I get kind of like a spiced cake vibe from this, but it definitely has vanilla in there and tonka bean, has a beautiful note of sandalwood in the base too, and then blackberry and jasmine. And I just really love this scent composition. And I think this is very fall winter appropriate. To me, it smells like it has dried fruits throughout. I just think it's so, so delicious. And if you've never smelled Dior Addict, I'd highly recommend getting yourself to a shop and sampling this one. And please let me know what you think of it. Have you tried Dior Addict before and do you like it? But for me, it is definitely one of my favorite designer fragrances, and I think it is a beautiful vanilla choice. And the next fragrance is Killian's Love Don't Be Shy. And this one isn't really like a crazy dominant vanilla fragrance. However, there definitely is a prominent vanilla note in here. It is very sweet. The orange blossom definitely takes center stage. But like I said, the vanilla will come through, especially in the dry down. It also has the most gorgeous marshmallow note, but it is softened slightly with the other floral notes and also with caramel. Now, I don't own the full bottle of this one yet, obviously. I don't wear it that often, but I can absolutely appreciate the scent profile. It is maybe a little bit too sweet for me personally, but I absolutely still like this fragrance, but I had to mention it in this video because I do think it is one of the best vanilla-centric fragrances on the market. And next up, we have one of my favorite vanillas in my collection, and that is by Sauradora, and it's called Orchidi Rouge. And I really enjoy the Sauradora bottles. I think I've mentioned it in other videos because I talk about Mandorle from the collection quite a lot. But when we're talking vanilla, Orchidi Rouge had to have a feature. I think this is absolutely incredible. It has notes of vanilla, rum, almond milk, and caramel. Super, super delicious. Now, one thing I will say with this one is I first sampled this on a test paper strip and I thought, oh, this is a nice fragrance, but I wasn't blown away. But the moment I sprayed this on the skin, it went into another dimension. It is just so beautiful when warmed up on my skin chemistry personally. So I'd highly recommend making sure you do a skin test of this one if you do try it out. It's just the most beautiful lactonic kind of almond milk and rum and caramel and vanilla. Super, super tasty. I'm absolutely going to be reaching for this a lot this fall and winter, but this is definitely a fragrance that can be worn in all seasons. And one other thing I want to mention about Sauradora is each fragrance has a corresponding color. So this one is of course red, as you can see here. Mandorle actually has a purple color. And what I love about that concept is when you have the fragrances lined up in your collection, if you are a collector like myself, it's really easy to see which fragrance is which just by the top, because obviously it has the color on there. They also do a discovery set, so if you want to try all of the fragrances before purchasing one in particular, you can absolutely do that, and I would highly recommend you do so. Sampling is a great way to make sure that you don't blind buy a fragrance that is maybe not to your taste. However, I do feel like this is a pretty safe fragrance, as is Mandorle. But yeah, sampling is always very important. So that was Sauradora Orchidi Rouge. Another fragrance I am absolutely head over heels for is Atelier de Source, and it is Lune Feline. And I think the bottle presentation is 100% one of the best on the market, and the juice inside, I think it's one of the best vanilla fragrances on the market too. But this is a smoky vanilla, so a little bit different from some of the others that I've talked about so far. It also has a note of cardamom in here, and if you watch my channel, you will know I absolutely love the fragrance note cardamom. So this one is very special in my collection. I absolutely adore it, and we are now in the perfect season to wear this, at least in the UK. So it's quite a complex vanilla. It has ambergris in here and woodsy notes, but to me, what is most prominent is that cardamom, the vanilla, and then the smoky notes throughout. This is one of my favorite fragrances in my whole collection, and I would highly recommend checking this out. Next up, we have another spicy vanilla, and that one is by Commodity, and it is Gold Plus. And this is from their Bold collection. So this is the stronger scent space from Commodity, and this is the most gorgeous kind of full winter appropriate spicy vanilla. It has notes of amber, saffron, iso super E, and of course vanilla. And I just think this is a very rich and decadent vanilla based fragrance. I would liken this to be a little bit similar to Nishane Ani, but they are still different enough to own both in your collection, but I just wanted to point that one out as just a comparison point. This is quite a unique fragrance within the Commodity lineup. The Iso Super E adds this kind of airiness to the scent, and it makes it project like crazy. This is absolutely a beast mode fragrance, and if you love the sound of the amber and the saffron and vanilla, I would highly recommend checking this one out. Commodity also do discovery sets, so you can sample this one before you buy it. You can either get the discovery kits that have all of the different fragrances in, or you can get discovery kits which have just the gold but in the 3 different scent spaces. So that means you can actually test out what you like and make sure that you get the right scent space for your personal preference. So that was Commodity Gold Bold. Next up, I have a Guerlain fragrance, and nope, it is not Spirituiste Double Vinnie, it is actually Angelique Noir. And I only have the 50ml size bottle, but that is perfectly big enough to suffice in my collection. And this is one of the most gorgeous, soft and sexy vanillas in my collection. I think this would make the perfect bridal scent, and I actually featured it in my bridal scents video. But this definitely stands out from the rest of the fragrances that I've spoken about so far because it takes a completely different direction. It is a vanilla fragrance, but it is more of a green vanilla. It has a beautiful note of angelica in there, which adds that greenness, but it also has a beautiful kind of tart and sweet pear note. The pink pepper kind of rounds this off and makes this a little bit spicy, but it's not a spicy fragrance by any mean. It just kind of adds a little bit of a balance to that sweetness. And I just think this is the most beautiful, soft vanilla fragrance. Very different from Nuit et Confidences from Goutal that I mentioned. This one is a green vanilla and it's a little bit less sweet. It definitely still has sweetness in there, but the greenness definitely takes this in a different direction. Angelique Noir is definitely loved for good reason, and it is definitely one of my favorites from Guerlain. I do want to add in Spirituiste Double Vinnie at some point, but I do think this one is a little bit more unique in terms of a vanilla fragrance. So that was Angelique Noir. Next up, we have an absolutely beautiful vanilla fragrance, and that is by Jeroboam, and it's called Insulo. And this is definitely one of my favorite vanillas in my collection. It again is more of a sweet vanilla caramel vibe, a little bit similar to Javoy Fire at Will. They have actually quite a similar composition, but Insulo is just super gorgeous. It feels like decadent, sticky and sweet on the skin. It doesn't really have the balance in terms of like having a spice or something to pull it back from being too sweet. So you absolutely have to enjoy those types of fragrances. But when it comes to that kind of vanilla caramel composition, this one is definitely one of the best out there on the market. Whenever I get something within that scent profile, I always compare it back to Insulo, and Insulo is always one of the front runners. It does have other notes in there like jasmine and musk, but being quite honest, I don't really pick those notes out. I do just get that kind of sweet vanilla-y caramel vibe. So definitely one of the best vanillas in my collection. That was Jeroboam's Insulo. And last, but by no means least, we have Nishane Ani, and this is a very gorgeous, very rich, decadent vanilla-based fragrance, but it is a spicy vanilla, and this is the one I kind of likened Commodity Gold Plus to. However, this one definitely takes a different direction because it has some very complex notes within here. The ginger note is really prominent to my nose, and I get that beautiful blast of ginger right in the opening. I just think it is so delicious. It also has cardamom in there, but say no more, already getting a green tick for that. But it also has a blast of benzoin in the base. This is hands down one of the best spicy vanillas on the market in my opinion. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a beast mode fragrance. The sillage is so big. So big. I can smell this from a mile away. So whenever my partner reaches for this one, I can literally smell him across the room. So if you want something that packs a punch, I would highly recommend checking out Nishane Ani. It is so very, very gorgeous. And that was it for my personal favorite vanilla fragrances within my collection. Now I'm always on the hunt for an amazing vanilla fragrance, so I would love to hear your recommendations. What are some of your favorite vanilla fragrances? Were there any in my list that you absolutely love or maybe that you don't enjoy? Please do let me know because I find it really, really interesting. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. Of course, only if you enjoy my content. I hope to see you back in the future. Have the most wonderful day. Thank you so much and goodbye.